What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Ross Reviews. Today I've got something a little bit different for you guys. Today I wanted to do my top 10 Australian cars of all time. Now this is completely just my personal opinion, and don't just take it with a grain of salt. All these cars I'm going to mention, they are all amazing. You guys might have a different opinion, but leave your top 10 list in the comments below if it differs. And let's just start off with number 10. Now, number 10, I have actually been fortunate enough to review. I absolutely love these cars. These cars are just so cool. Very, very Australian as well. And a bit of a mixed bag when it comes to people liking them or not liking them. A lot of people either really love or hate this car. This is none other than the Tickford T3 TS50, and I just love the look of this thing. To me, it really looks like a true supercar V8. The body kit, the wing, it all works for me. The sound of this thing, the look of it, the Windsor Stroker V8. This thing had the Windsor Stroker V8. It was Tickford's really last hurrah before FPV really moved in, and I just love this car. I really think it's deserving of the list, and it's my number 10. Now, number 9 for the Holden lovers. This is the 1996 VS GTSR. It's yellow. I love this thing. The looks of this car, it just looks so cool. I've always loved this car ever since I've seen it. It just looks so radical. The GTSR logos everywhere, the crazy wing, 5.7 liter Holden, the V8, it was a beast. This car was a beast. And it was not cheap. When it came out, this thing was like almost $80,000 or something ridiculous. And for back then, that was a huge amount of money. Nowadays, you want to pick one of these up, they're over 200 grand. Like, they're a really, really special car, something you just do not see often at all. I really hope one day I get the chance to review one. The VS GTSR, number 9. Now coming in at number 8 is another HSV. This is the VL Group A SS. And this is a car that I have been fortunate enough to see in person. Never driven one, but my God, the presence of this thing. Launched back in 1986, 5-liter V8 again, and this thing was seriously just car porn. Like, the body kit on this car, the look of it, it was just the sound. Bathurst as well. This thing was winning Bathurst titles. This thing was just unbelievable. And this is such a deserving car, and it's number 8. Number 7. Oh, I'm excited about this one. Now, I might actually have to bump this car up a bit on the list, though I did make this list before recently purchasing this car. This is none other than the BFFPV Typhoon. So these cars are just so amazing, such a classic, and I'm so fortunate to have one in the garage right now. So this car, upon release, it just changed the game. Everything was all V8s before this. FPV stepped in, introducing, the Barra, the straight 6 turbocharger, changed the game in the Australian car scene, and it is just a legend still to this day. So 270 kilowatts from factory. They made like 550 Newton meters of torque, just a massive torque numbers. And these cars, they just look so good. They were just so aggressive from the front end. Everything about it was just beautiful. They had the ZF transmission by that point as well. And it's still to this day, in my eyes, just one of the ultimate Australian cars and so deserving of being on this list. Now, number 6, keeping that spoolie boy tradition going, the VL Turbo. This car is absolutely ridiculous. It is so famous. This thing is obviously Holden that had the Nissan RB30 engine in it. And again, similar to the Typhoon, just changed the game. Now, maybe not so much as the FPV, but this car is just so desirable. There are just so many done-up ones that just sound amazing, just do hectic mad burnouts. And yeah, pretty much summer nats, it's just VL turbos everywhere on Simmons. The boys. So yeah, these cars are just amazing. They were launched back in 1986, carried through up until 1988, so just a couple of short years. And yeah, having the Nissan engine, I still to this day don't really know why that happened, how that happened. If you guys know, leave it in the comments below. Yes, very odd combination, but it worked, and yeah, just an awesome, awesome car. Now coming in at number 5, this has got to be one of my all-time favorite Holdens ever. The design of this car, I have just always loved it, and it may surprise you guys. So this is none other than a 2006 HSV VZ Club Sport. And these clubbies, oh my goodness, these clubbies can just look so mean, so aggressive when they're done right. And the 6-liter LS engine in these things, chuck a cam in there, and oh my God, these things sound good. The lump is just ridiculous. You know, you get these in the 6-speed manual. They really did a good job, you know, of the style of the car, I always thought. And, you know, thing made almost 300 kilowatts from factory, you know, and they were quite easy to get power out of. So these cars, you know, and nowadays being, you know, getting a little bit older in age, they're getting extremely desirable and harder to find, especially, you know, in good condition. So the clean VZ series is just, it's one of my all-time favorite HSVs and has to be on this list. Now coming in at number 4, I got to represent the FPV boys one more time. This is none other than the FPV GTF 351. And my goodness, this was the last production car for you know, FPV ever made. This was a truly, truly special car. Only 500 were made, I believe, and 351 kilowatts out of the freaking insane supercharged V8. And I'm telling you, though, this engine is absolutely insane. Now, I have been lucky enough to review the XR8 Sprint, which has a very, very close similar power. You know, it is slightly less power. I think the Sprint is 348 kilowatts, but it has more torque than the GTF 351. But it is an amazing car. I would really love to review one of these one day. The 351 FPV is just, that is just an epic car that, yeah, you see one of those things and that is just the definition of super sedan. Now getting closer to that number 1 spot, coming in at number 3 is the Ford XY GTO Phase 3. This thing is absolutely insane. Introduced in 1971, based off the GT Bathurst car, and this thing was really, it was a homologation, but it was basically a race car for the road. And when it came out, I'm just going to read this here one more time because I don't want to mess this up. Winner of the 1971 Bathurst 500, driven by Alan Moffat, the Phase 3 has been described as simply the best car in the world. And, you know, this could have taken on Ferraris, Aston Martins. It goes on in here to say, you know, it was just ridiculous. Thing made over 300 brake horsepower in 1971. And, yeah, this car was just, it was just unbelievable. I have not been fortunate enough to sit in one or experience one yet. I've had rumors of people say they have them around Perth and they're interested, but nothing has come to fruition yet. So I really hope one day we get to feature one of those cars because they are just mind-bogglingly expensive as well nowadays. I think they're like over $600,000 or something. It is just, it's truly crazy money what they're charging for them now, but it was a truly iconic car. So yeah, number 3. Now, coming in at number 2, this is going to be quite controversial, I think, but I just have to go on my gut, my instinct, and I think a bit of common sense. So number 2, as you should have guessed it, the FPV F6 310. This is by far one of the ultimate FPVs ever made, and I have been lucky enough to review a couple of these, and my God, they are just some of the greatest sedans ever made, some of the greatest cars ever made, and the pull of these Barras is just unfreaking believable. You know, words cannot describe how good these cars are, and when you get one that's been properly done up, you got the manual or the ZF even, but it's just an experience like no other, and the speed of these cars is just ridiculous. It's supercar speeds when you put a bit of money into it, and you know, 310 kilowatts from factory out of the 4-liter inline-6 Barra, turbo, and my goodness, if you ever had goals for an Aussie car, this is the ultimate goal. Well, might not be the ultimate. We still got one more to go, but my goodness, you know, the car is just amazing. This car is just absolutely amazing. The fact that it's not number 1 is a little bit controversial because I love it so much, but I think you all know what number 1 is going to be, and let's go ahead and talk about that. Number 1, of course, has to be the HSV GTSR W1. This is the fastest production Australian car in the history of Australian automotive. And this thing, it is absolutely, without a doubt, one of the most insane sedans on the planet. This thing, let me just read the specs out here because I don't want to mistake this thing. This is absolutely insane. This has a LS9, so this is a supercharged V8 LS9. I believe this is like the same engine they used in the Corvette. This thing makes 474 kilowatts and 815 Newton meters from factory. From factory, guys. This is absolutely insane. This is by far Australia's most powerful production car. It is the fastest. It is all that kind of things. And the car, it absolutely looks amazing. It looks so aggressive, so tough. I've always really have loved the HSV designs. They've always come up with great designs, and for them to finally put something so monstrous in one of those cars, it was bound to be. But again, with the price of this thing, it was a fortune. Now, to buy one of these things brand new, if you were lucky enough to get one, was $170,000. $170,000 for a Holden. Yeah. But now, if you want to buy one now, oh my Lord, like, good luck. You know, I think they're like in the order of $250,000 plus. They are just absolutely ridiculously expensive. And, you know, I guess being the last car, you know, last Aussie car really to be made around here, and, you know, the fastest one, I guess there is some, you know, history there and collectability for sure. There was only 300 of these cars ever made, and yeah, the 0 to 100 time was claimed at about 4.2 seconds. It was absolutely ridiculous, the speed of this thing, and you know, it wasn't just a straight line car. They had actually really developed a ton of money, a ton of time and engineering into the way this thing handled, and it was actually a full-on like track weapon, this car. So, you know, it had a beautiful interior, had a beautiful design, was bloody fast, could handle the bends as well, and yeah, it had a 6.2 liter supercharged LS9, and they came in manual. what more do you want? Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. That is just my top 10 list. You know, that's just me personally going through, you know, some of the classics I like. And, you know, you guys definitely might have a different one to me. So leave some comments down below on those cars if I did any mistakes. If what's your guys' top 10 list? I want to know. Yeah, leave some feedback. And again, thanks for watching, everyone. Please remember to hit that like button. Consider subscribing if you're new here, and we'll see you on that next video.